Hello everyone, welcome to another Versus video. I am BBD joined by...
Christopher VanMeter.
VanMeter, some even would pronounce it. And
They'd be wrong.
We're right, one of the two. But we are here to battle some sweet standard action with some new Journey to Nyx cards, as seen in the first open of the new season from last weekend in Cincinnati. You are playing a...
Junk Midrange, a
Wait.
la Jeffrey Hoogland. Oh, in Cincinnati?
You're playing this deck? Not me?
Yeah, I'm playing the junk
Seems like a
mid-range.
mistake. I don't know. Yeah. What can be said about that junk deck that hasn't been said about, every deck? Just has Obsidat and Elspeth and...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And you're on a special Saito brew.
Indeed. Blue, White, Red, featuring Keranos, Deicide.
He is the god of storms.
He is. And Banishing Light as some of the new Journey cards.
Sweet.
So, should be a good battle.
So to determine who gets to go first this week, we're actually taking a suggestion from our last video. So somebody had posted in the comments a sweet game that we could play that is based off of the game that Wesley and Vincini played in Princess Bride. So we have a BBD token here and a poison counter.
Yep.
This token is a little bent.
Is it? How bad?
But what's going to happen is I'm going to go ahead and mix them up and then decide where they go face down. One in front of me and then one in front of Brian. And at that point, he will have two choices. So he can either leave them where they stay and we flip them up, and whoever has the token will get to choose. They win the game, basically. And whoever has the poison counter loses. Or he can choose to switch them, and then we'll flip them up. So he has to determine whether I am the type of man that would put the poison in front of myself or in front of my opponent.
I think CVM's the kind of person who would put poison in front of both of us, if I had to take a guess.
So we're going to mix them up. I wish I could, but I don't think it would really help the game. So I have to decide what's going to go where, and I think that we're going to put this one here and this one there.
All right, so apparently there's a winning option between germs and poison. Honestly, it seems like it's a lose-lose, but...
Fair.
All right, well...
So would you like to keep them where they stay, or would you like to swap them?
I'm going to keep them where they stay. I just feel like, yes. I feel like CVM was going to play me for swapping them, so decide to keep them where they stay. I will be on the play.
Lucky.
Very lucky. Yes, just as lucky as this hand is here. Now, this is what I'm talking about here. This is... lots and lots of land, and then a very awesome card. But since we have some scry lands, I'm going to go ahead and keep it because I'm greedy. So I'm going to keep this.
So Imagines has a bunch of lands and a Revelation. Now, we have the equivalent of the same thing in our hand. But we do have these three, and we have this to protect something that we can scry into. In the dark, I would just snap keep this hand. Knowing what I'm playing against, I would be inclined to thinking about mulligan, but I am going to go ahead and keep.
All right, I'm going to begin with the scry. We're going to go ahead and keep that card on top because it does something. So you're up.
That's not a bad one. We're going to go ahead and start out with the scry. And I'm actually going to push this to the bottom. I don't think we're really going to need it here against the Temple of Epiphany. Go ahead.
All right, draw. Go ahead and scry once more, and that is a land which we do not need, so we will ship that to the bottom. Say go.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and scry again, too. And I'm not too excited about this card. Now, I'm actually going to ship this to the bottom. We possibly could keep this, but I'm going to be a little greedy since we still have another one. Go ahead.
All right, deck. Cough up the goods. All right, that's pretty goodsy, I guess. I don't know if that's a real word, but that's definitely some goods. Now, I'm actually going to play this Hallowed Fountain instead of this, just so that we set ourselves up for later. Go ahead. And there's really no pressing need to scry right now since we're not under any kind of pressure.
All right, so we're going to cast Lifebane Zombie.
Ooh, Lifebane Zombie. All right, we have Elspeth, Sphinx's Revelation, Detention Sphere, Plains, Temple of Triumph, and Mutavault. Now,
Alright, well, I don't get to take anything, but I get to see his hand, which is fine by me, and I'll pass the turn.
now I will state that before this video began, David McDarby came in here and he drew an opening hand that was 6 lands and an Elspeth. I shuffled my deck thoroughly and began the game with 6 lands Elspeth. So
And you drew a Sphinx's Revelation?
I figured it was
Jeez.
a keep just in honor of that. I'm just gonna go ahead and D-sphere this thing. Like our D-spheres aren't that great against him anyway, and I'm just no reason to take unnecessary damage. I'm gonna scry again, and I'm gonna keep that on top. You're up.
Okay. So we're going to start off with the scry. And this is going to let us start chaining these spells together. So we're going to go ahead and keep that.
Gonna be chaining them to the rocks.
Yup. So I don't think that we want to use this now. I think we're better off just using one of these and handling some business like that. So I will pass the turn.
All right. I will draw this and play this and pass the turn.
Alright, so end step, we're going to abrupt decay this.
All right.
Trigger.
We've drawn a Plains and a Dissolve.
So we have Elspeth, Dissolve, Rev, White. Alright, sweet. I'll attack.
All right. I feel intimidated. 17.
So we know that he has a Dissolve here. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to cast this instead. Actually, like tapping it like that. We'll play Scavenging Ooze.
Sure.
We'll play a land. And I'll pass the turn.
All right. I'm not going to fire off the Rev yet. I'd rather get a little bit more value out of it since we're not under an obscene amount of pressure. I think we can afford to wait. So, play a Plains. Now I could just jam Elspeth, but he can Hero's Downfall it, untap, and play something. So that just seems like a losing plan. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pass.
Okay. So we know that he still has a Dissolve in his hand. The question I have to ask myself is if I'm willing to trade off my Scavenging Ooze for his Mutavault. And before I answer that question, I'm going to scry.
Okay.
And I think that I like having that. So we'll keep that on top. Go to combat.
Sure.
I'll send both of these guys.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to do this and attempt to trade here.
That's fine.
Okay. And we go to 14. So that reduces his clock
I'll pass.
by a bit. It's not a bad one. Alright, we're still just going to play this and say go. Now that we drew this, we might want to do this. But we'll see.
So for starters here, we're just going to send in for 3.
Is Lifebane going to go all the way?
So here is the point where he can fire off a Rev for 3, and then next turn be able to Supreme Verdict with his dissolve back up if he happens to have another blue source to start doing that. So we want to start deploying threats now to make him start using his counter spells. Now the other option would be just to sit back on this Lifebane zombie, but I think that I would rather cast this one.
Okay, resolves.
I'll pass the turn.
Alright, I'll rub for 3. So we go to 14 and draw 3.
Yep. I'm gonna eat my Scavenging Ooze now while he's tapped out, just in case he were to try and is it charm my Scavenging Ooze? So I'm at 21.
Alright, and I'll draw for turn. Ooh, that's a sweet one. That guy could get some mileage out of that thing. Alright, so we'll go ahead and shock ourselves down to 12. And I'm gonna cast Supreme Verdict.
Let's get everything but your Mutavault.
Okay. It's worth doing that in case of Elixir of Immortality, but
You need, you got double white.
yep.
So these are the situations where not having Thoughtseize in the main deck really hurts. That like I can see his hand with Lifebane Zombie, I know what he has, but there's nothing I can do other than just like play into his spells. Alright, so we're gonna scry.
Okay.
And this is not what we're looking for right now. And just playing a waiting game isn't really going to get us anywhere. So we'll cast an Archangel of Thune.
I think we're going to go ahead and dissolve that just because we don't want him to... We want to be able to tap out for something and him not have anything in play.
Now, it could be that I should have just played that last turn instead of the Scavenging Ooze. Actually, no.
Because then you would have just lost it to
We just
Verdict.
lost it to Verdict. I think playing the Ooze was fine.
I'm going to go ahead and keep this card because I think this is one of our better cards against him. For situations later in the game that could potentially arise. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that on top. Done. Alright, just untap. Draw. So I can cast this, but I don't actually think that it does that much. Oh, maybe it does, I think. Like, he has nothing right now. Yeah, I'll just play the Elspeth. Yeah, I don't know if that's 100% right, but I'd rather just have something in play so that in the situation where he does have, like, a threat that we can't really answer, we at least have, like, our own threat in play. And I'll pass the turn.
Alright, so an untapped land here or any threat would be good. Huh. So this is a very important card to get into play. But I don't think we can let him untap with that Elspeth in play. Which is unfortunate. Now, the reason I can, try and deduce that he doesn't have another counterspell in hand, because if he did, he just wouldn't tap out for the Elspeth here. There'd be no reason to open himself up to something awesome. So I think that I'm just going to Banishing Light the Elspeth.
Okay.
And then I will pass the turn.
Draw. Alright. Well, we know that he has Advent of the Worms in his deck, so he might have an Advent. But I'm actually okay with him flashing it in to block these things, so... actually, maybe do I just... maybe I just attack with 1 to play around Advent? Probably just... yeah. I'm going to attack with... Well, I guess it depends on how we want to play the turn, because we can... There's a number of different ways we can play this turn. We can cast this, or this. I think, again, we just kind of want to play this and get it out there. But maybe that's wrong. Ugh. Yeah, I'm just going to attack for 1.
20.
What did you... Oh, you used... Wait, yeah, you did. Yeah, I missed that. Alright, yeah, you're 20. Alright, I'll just play another Elspeth. Make 3 soldiers. Go ahead. Yeah, we did not get advented.
So we really don't have any way to handle all of these soldiers, which is unfortunate. So let's... Now, as much as I would like to get... I think it's still better just to put this into play. Could be that it's better to get this out. You have 5 cards?
Yep.
And we have another Detention Sphere or the Banishing Light. Turn Burn does stuff too. Alright, I'm just going to cast this guy.
Okay. So 22 to 10.
Play this tapped and step.
Sure.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Well, that would have been nice to have before. We'll sack for 6.
16.
Make 3 soldiers. I'll just pass the turn.
Trigger.
8 to 18.
Let's see here. So, even though I know that he doesn't have Azorius Charm in his deck, I still would have to be wary of attacking here because he could just, like... I guess Turn Burn would kill it regardless. Is it 8? He just blocks with the soldier. Let's see, what else could he possibly do? I'm going to go ahead and attack you.
I'll block.
Sure. I'll play another Archangel.
You can either counter that or let it resolve and hope to hit something off of these. Or we can also play this, which I don't think really helps us that much right now. I think I'm just gonna let it resolve.
Okay. Pass.
And Revelation for 4.
Yep.
Alright, well, we hit a good one. Draw for turn. An island. Yeah. I'll tackle everything.
I will block 1.
Okay. So you take 4?
Yep.
Or 14.
Trigger. Yeah. And just kill it with his Elspeth, I guess.
Yeah, I could. I'm just going to actually plus Elspeth. 3 soldiers. And I have to go to discard. Discarding. Sadly, I have to discard this Cairness since we don't really need him to win at this point. And I guess this Temple of Enlightenment as well.
My turn?
Yeah.
Trigger.
14 to 16. Or, sorry, 10 to 16.
Yep. Alright, well that's not really gonna help. Well, I imagine we're gonna have like a quick and supreme verdict here or a turn burn happening, but I'll send this at Elspeth and this at you.
Alright, I'll block opposite that, then quicken, and supreme verdict. Even though I have a million tokens, I think it's probably still better to do that.
Yep.
And Sylvan Caryatid. Draw. Sadly, not exactly what we were hoping for. I'm going to cast Jace.
Sure.
Minus it. Jace Verdict, Banishing Light.
I honestly don't think there's any chance I have to win this game. I mean, I guess I could draw Hero's Downfall, and you don't have a counterspell. I'll split it like that.
Alright, I'll take... Let's see. Yeah, I'll take these two. This on the bottom. Plus Elspeth. And go to discard.
Yep.
Discard Supreme Verdict.
That's great. Again, not what we're looking for. Your turn.
+1 Jace, Ultimate Elspeth. Attack for 9.
Yeah, I'm actually just dead.
Okay. Alright, we are back for game number 2.
So I already see a trend with this deck against these control decks where you're just drawing all the wrong half, and I mean, this is a good hand that I would keep against anything that doesn't have Swings of Revelation in it, but against a red deck you just can't keep something like this.
Yep. This hand is pretty unlikely to triumph, but we're going to go ahead and keep it anyway.
Alright, best 6 ever. Definitely not the case. Yeah, I mean, I guess I have to keep.
Okay.
And I don't think I can ship that card. Go ahead.
Lucky. I'll go ahead and scry. Yeah, I think I have to keep that card too, even though it's pretty slow.
18.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go ahead and scry again. Yeah, I'll go ahead and keep that. Go ahead.
So Underworld Connections would definitely be our best draw here. That is not Underworld Connections.
Yeah.
10 for 2.
18.
We will scry. I don't really like this card here, so I'm just going to push it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'd like to play this. Well, I'd like to have the opportunity to play this card freely, so I'm gonna go ahead and blow this Detention Sphere on his Ooze right now. Even though he can potentially Abrupt Decay it. I mean, we're not really gonna. Okay. Like, these cards is just not good against this deck because he has so many Abrupt Decays, so, and Banishing Lights that I'm looking to just use it whenever I can.
Well, that was a very good draw.
That's unfortunate. 16.
We're going to shock to 16.
Draw connections?
I did. And we're going to put it here.
Sure.
And then I'll pass.
Shock. I'll play Jason plus it. Good.
Alright, well, we're going to pay a life and draw a card. Draw for turn. So here I can use this on his Jace. But I really want to hit my land drops to try and land this card. So I think that I'm going to cast this instead, so we can start working that connections.
Okay.
So I'll play a Courser. Alright, we might have a chance to do that trick.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to gain a life, scry trigger. We get to see the top card. So I'm at 16. And I kind of want to draw that card. Yeah, I'm going to pay a life to draw a card.
Okay.
15. So we're going to draw the forest. And now our scry trigger happens, and we're going to ship this to the bottom. And now I'll just attack Jace for 1.
Jace is at 4.
And I'll pass the turn.
Alright, draw. I will minus the Jace.
You have 6 cards?
Yep.
So if I So he would be minusing the Jace here. The only reason I would see him doing that is if he already has a Supreme Verdict. So we have to figure out how this turn is going to play out. So if I give him the Detention Sphere, then he can sphere my connections, but I'm able to kill his Jace. He's probably just going to Verdict and then desphere next turn. If I give him the Sphere, I don't think that I can actually give him Rev and a land. Plus it's a Mutavault, so it's a very good land. Our game plan is going to revolve around these cards. So I think that I think I'm actually just going to split it like this.
Alright, I'll take the D-sphere in the Mutavault.
Yeah, so...
I was going to take whatever pile had 2 cards in it. That was my plan there. And I will cast Supreme Verdicts. And Temple of Triumph and Scry. And I'm going to keep this on top, since I feel like we may need that at some point in the game. So, go ahead.
Oh, I'll draw the Banishing Light.
Okay. Elspeth, sure.
Play Elspeth and make some guys. So he does have Jace to try and lock down the Elspeth, but he also knows that I have a Banishing Light in my hand. So, go ahead.
Alright, draw this.
You kept the Scry on top of the temple?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, like we can play this, but he has the Banishing Light, so that doesn't do a whole lot. I think what we're going to do is plus our Jace, and then just play our own Elspeth. We will fight Elspeths against each other. Maybe he'll attack. Go ahead.
Attack with my O1s?
Yep.
I'm going to try not to. So he played the Mutavault. We know he has a Detention Sphere. Well, that was a good draw.
That's bad news.
So... I wish I knew if the top card of my deck was a land or not.
Sweet if you had a Corsair Crewfix in
It
play.
would be. I got to use that for a turn. It's a pretty cool interaction, too. Maybe I should have just kept that Overgrown Tomb. I don't know. Or the Temple Garden that I shipped. Then I wouldn't have the Banishing Light. So, we obviously can't attack. And I'm going to want to use this to get rid of his Elspeth. But the question is, do I also want to use this to get rid of his Jace? I think that I would rather just not risk it, so... I'm going to downfall your Elspeth.
She is dead.
I'll plus mine.
Sure.
And then we're going to Banishing Light your Jace.
He has been banished.
And I'll pass.
It's not a bad one. Check yourself. So we're at 12 and he's at 15. I'll just play another Jace, plus it, and D-Sphere the Elspeth. I feel like he has another answer to our D-Sphere, but I guess we'll find out. And I think we also just go ahead and swing on in for 3 here. I don't mind trading these things off, and there's no downside to... Well, there is downside. He might have Johnny. So we'll attack with 2 of them. Okay. Go ahead.
So, I think that we just want to draw a card here. We're just going to get back our Elspeth and play this game towards... ultimating the Elspeth. So, we'll go to 14 and draw a card.
Okay.
Well, that might change things.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think this card might be too good to not just cast.
Alright, 10 to 16.
End step.
Yep.
Go.
Alright. Draw. Yeah, we have to minus our Jace at this point. Try to find some action.
Dissolve by itself.
It's all by itself. I think we take the dissolve. Go.
Alright, trigger.
8 to 18.
Draw card. Okay, so I think we just want to start off with drawing a card off of this. 17. And that is a very good card.
Can you stop drawing good cards, please?
Sorry. Alright, so... Okay. The thing is that he has a Revelation in hand. And so we're just sitting on that dissolve. I have to decide where I want to attack. So I can send Obsidian at him and all these soldiers at the Jace. He can eat a soldier with Immutable, trade off a soldier, and the Jace can go down to 1. Which I think I'm fine with his Jace at being at 1 just as much as it being dead. So we'll send Obsidian at you and all of these soldiers at Jace.
Alright, block Obsidat. I'll quicken.
Supreme Verdict?
Yeah, Supreme Verdicts.
You're complaining about me drawing good cards?
My hand's not exactly the best, but alright. It's all dead.
Alright. So I guess here then, we just go to plan B.
Is that getting Elspeth back?
I'm going to Banishing Light this guy.
Okay.
And then decay the Attention Sphere.
Yep.
Make some guys. That Quicken is so good against these green mid-range decks. And I'll pass the turn.
We're gonna loot.
I almost Abrupt Decayed first. And then I realized that you had 2 mana untapped.
Oh man.
Man, Detention Sphere and my Banishing Lights would kill one of your Jaces.
I know. Yeah, it's really hard to beat like so many decays and banishing lights with this deck. Not sure to discard here. I think I have to keep this card, or I just am not going to win. I think I want to keep these 3 cards actually. So I'm just going to discard Dissolve, Temple of Enlightenment. Like, we don't really have time to sit back with counters, so start by scrying.
Bottom.
Alright, well that's not a bad one.
Well, he didn't snap top, so it's not a revelation.
I'm gonna keep it on top. That can hopefully go a little ways towards helping us. And I'll pass the turn.
Okay. Well, let's start by attacking.
I got a 5.
Make some dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll draw a card. That's not bad either.
I'll never draw a land CVM over there.
You just never draw on lands. So, I kind of want to do this so we can see what's up. Got 2 verdicts used already.
How many planar cleansings are in my deck?
Not a 1. I feel like this is just as good as the other stuff with how this game is playing out, so. Left means Obi. Got a rev?
Yep.
Yeah. And another verdict and an Elspeth? Jeez. Oh, they're complaining? Okay. So we're just gonna have to verdict here. Needs to attack my Elspeth for 2, which sucks. So I don't really want to cast this, it's just gonna die.
I like casting it.
I'll pass the turn.
Alright, I'll rev for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we can find some solace in the fact that there's a rev on the bottom of this deck, but I'm sure he still drew one of the other 2.
And then draw for turn. Alright. That wasn't the greatest, but it wasn't terrible either. Alright, so I think this turn we should do both of these and play Scryland, and the next turn we're set up to do like this, and also attacking with Mutavault. So I think that's our best line. So I'm gonna start by scrying. That's interesting. I don't know if we want that actually. You might have another Hero's Downfall. I think I'm going to ship it to the bottom and look for some more proactive cards. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and ship that to the bottom. Play Elspeth. 3 soldiers. Just running out of soldiers. And I will deicide a Banishing Light. Plus Jace. And pass the turn.
Alright, so I'll draw. And we need to hit something good here. So you definitely want to hit an answer for that Elspeth. Is it 9? Know that he has Verdict. Really wish this deck had Thoughtseizes in its main deck. Just no way to interact with your hand is real bad.
Yeah, if I was getting Thoughtseize, this game would be over.
I think I just have to draw a card, or maybe I play this first, just so that I can filter my draws. I would have to hit down 5. I think I'd rather just draw a card.
15.
It's probably wrong, but oh well. Of course. Of course. Alright, so
Of course or of courser?
So where do yeah, of course, right? So where do I want to send this life gain zombie?
I like keeping it back to block.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're definitely gonna up this Elspeth.
Sure. I'm going to cast Supreme Verdict if for no other reason, just to clear these soldiers out of there. It's just
Too much stuff.
too much clutter. I don't like cluttered boards.
Alright, so I think we have to start whittling down that Elspeth.
Alright, trigger Jace. Elspeth's at 3.
And yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
There's no point in putting this Carrington in play.
Really? I disagree. Alright, draw. Awesome. That was a good draw. Scry. Well, I'm gonna not scry. That's bad. It's better to play the turn first and see what happens, and then scry afterwards if needed. So, go ahead and cast Supreme Verdict as the first thing. Get these tokens out of here. I'll then plus Elspeth. I'm going to activate Mutavault and attack his Elspeth with it. Advent of the Worm. I'm going to dissolve it. And scry. We will definitely bottom that. Elspeth's down to 5. So now I think I have the freedom to minus Jace here. It's nothing really can pressure us next turn, so go ahead and minus the Jace. Temple, Jace, Keranos.
Keranos by himself.
Well, we're going to take the Keranos. And then after this is all said and done, I will play my own Temple for turn. And put that to the bottom as well. And pass the turn.
Okay.
So hopefully this Keranos can start whittling down his planeswalkers so we don't die to them. That is the plan.
So
That single in Life Bane Zombie has been annoying.
I mean, it's good against this deck, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're definitely gonna make some guys.
Seems legitimate.
I think that we just want to get this in play so we can start filtering our draws. Because we have to find an answer for something. I feel like this card's going to end up being pretty good for us. So we're going to
Courser Crucifix.
cast Courser of Crucifix. I want to do this turn. Maybe I just want to get this in play. No. We're going to cast Courser.
Okay. Archangel.
That's not bad, actually.
That's pretty good.
So we're going to take one and gain one.
14.
And we'll play Barbarian.
Yep.
And then it will be your turn.
All right. Draw. So he gets to play Archangel next turn, probably play a land, pump his entire team. I definitely want to minus the Elspeth to kill his Blood Baron here so we don't lose that. The question is, do we plus the Jace as well then? I'm going to start by scrying just to see what we're looking at. Okay, that definitely changes things. I'm going to keep that on top. Play Keranos. Plus Jace. Minus Elspeth. And I'll say go.
Okay. We want to draw that.
Alright, go to 13.
Well, that's unfortunate. Really wanted to hit a land at some point here so that I could grow my team.
I think this Keranos is going to be pretty sick.
I mean, yeah, I guess deck has no way to handle it. Well, I have the Banishing Lights, but I have to use those. You left the card on top. Be another Revelation. Firemight's Foresight. I just want to get this Archangel into play. 3, 5, 2. Yeah, so we're just going to +1.
Okay.
Archangel.
Yep.
And a Caryatid.
Yep.
And I don't think attacking does anything here, so we'll just pass.
Alright. So I will reveal the first card I draw. It is a Supreme Verdict. I will deal 3 damage to your Elspeth. I'm bad. Okay. I'll go ahead and cast Supreme Verdict.
It's the 4th one, right?
It is the 4th one.
Sweet.
I'll make 3 soldiers. And activate Mutavault and attack Elspeth. We'll go ahead and minus the Jace. Is it Charm, Plains, Last Breath?
Charm by itself.
I'll take the as a Charm. And go.
We'll draw a card.
Okay, 12. Really hoping for a spell on top for Karanos.
Plus Elspeth.
Sure.
Downfall, your Elspeth.
Dissolve it. And scry. We'll put that on the bottom.
One card?
Yep. It's the is it true?
Tremio.
Yep. Yep.
Go.
Alright. So first card we draw is a Syncopate. Kill your Elspeth.
Yep, I'll actually just concede.
Okay.
Because there's no chance to win here.
Alright, we are back for sideboarding. For me, I'm cutting Last Breath. It doesn't kill that much. Like it can kill a Courser or a Scavenging Ooze sometimes, but it's kind of a marginal card, so I don't really want it. And then I'm actually going to cut the Banishing Lights and Detention Spheres, which may seem weird, but they just aren't that good. Like he has Abrupt Decay, his own Banishing Lights, and potentially Golgari Charm out of the board. So I don't want these cards in my deck that just are going to get blown up. And so instead I'm going to bring in a Wear Tear, an Aetherling, and an Assemble just as more like threats that we can play to take over the game. And then I'm bringing in 2 Brimaz as more threats. We also could potentially bring in Counterflux, Celestial Flare, or Archangel of Thune. And I don't like Archangel that much because of Lifebane. And I'm not sure that it's actually that good anyway. And then Celestial Flare I don't like because of like the prevalence of cards like Sin Collector or Elspeth or any number of ways he has to like punish us for having Flare. Plus like he has like Thoughtseizes and Sin Collectors and things like that are going to be coming in post board against us. And I don't like sitting on situational cards when my opponent knows what they're in our hand. So I don't want I don't want a card like that. I'd rather have a more proactive card like Brimaz. Even if it doesn't really attack that well through cards like Blood Baron or whatever. So I'm going to go with these and cut these and see if that works out. We may lose just because we don't have access to this. So I may switch these back in at some point, but for now I'm going to go with that.
So as we saw in the first 2 games, this deck is not very well set up against a control deck for game 1 with no Thoughtseize or any way to interact with our opponents. Against the creature decks, we have like removal, and we're actually fighting on an axis with our creatures being more superior than them. But in this type of matchup, we are fighting on one level, and they're fighting on a completely different level that's just going to end up trumping us. So we're siding 11 cards. So we have an Obsidian and Erebos, Connections, 2 Charms, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Lifebane Zombie, and 2 Sin Collectors, which gives us ways to either have very resilient and powerful threats, more card advantage, ways to protect our creatures against his Supreme Verdicts, as well as to handle problem enchantments that he has, ways to see his hand, pressure his Planeswalker, and interact with the cards that are in his hand. Being a Supreme Verdict and Sphinx of Revelation are just the 2 best cards against my deck out of his deck. And if at any point in that game 2, if I was Thoughtseizing him, like the game would have been put away.
100%, yep.
So from what I'm cutting, 2 Archangels, which are just way too slow against him, 4 Coursers, the same thing, 3 Scavenging Oozes. These really don't do anything when A, he doesn't have Elixir, and B, he's not playing Rakdos Cackler and other fellow idiots for me to kill and eat. And then I'm cutting a Blood Baron and a Downfall. These were the 2 cards that I wasn't sure what I wanted to cut. I wanted to cut a couple Caryatids, but since I'm going up to 3 Connections and an Erebos, I just want as much mana as I possibly can for when I get those cards going, so I can continue to play all my spells. And having 4 Downfalls, I think, was a little overboard. I think 3 is going to be fine, but it could be that I go back up to the 4th, and the Blood Baron, the only answer that he has is Supreme Verdict and Elspeth. But if I'm tapping 5 mana and spending an entire turn putting him into play, and then he gets answered, I'm just not in a very good spot. I don't really like that exchange, so I'm shaving a Bloodbrand.
Makes sense.
So let's see how the new and improved Midrange actually plays against the control deck.
Probably a lot better.
All right, we're back for game 3. I'll be on the play. And we'll start off with a mulligan because I have 7 cards. That's pretty quick. We'll show everybody at home how awesome this hand is if I have a couple lands. Finally see a Johnny.
I'm going to go ahead and keep
Another mulligan.
this hand. CD, I'm playing another mulligan deck again this week.
DVD, keeping 7s no matter what.
Look, I don't mulligan. I don't care what the 7 is.
6 land Elspeth.
6 land Elspeth is actually a reasonable hand when you have 3 scry lands. Perfectly reasonable hand on the play.
All right, best 6 I've ever seen. All right, well, that's the most mediocre 3 and a terrible 6. All right. This is just ridiculous. Not even a scry land.
Is it 4 lands, caryatid?
I would keep that. I would snap 4 caryatid any 2 spells. Doesn't have a castable card. Alright, we're just going to go 5. Alright, 5.
I keep it.
Sure. Go.
So that's a sweet scry lands. Alright, I will scry. Hey, that thing. Go. Keep that guy. Or thing, whatever it is. Am I getting Thoughtseized?
So, I have to decide if I want to use this now or wait and see if we can get one more turn. So, the reason for not waiting would be if I were to draw an Underworld Connections or a Lifebane Zombie, which there are 3 of each, or a Sin Collector next turn, which gives me 9 cards. So I think that I would rather just fire this off now.
Alright, I have Jace, Dissolve, Wear Tear, Elspeth, 2 lands. I'd probably snap off the Temple of Triumph, or the Temple of Epiphany.
Thoughtseize could take lands. If only. Alright, well... I think that it's going to be best just to take the only card he has that interacts with our hand, which is probably going to be in that Dissolve. Yeah, let's get rid of the Dissolve.
Dissolve down.
18, it's your turn.
Alright. Temple of Triumph, scry. Go.
Go ahead. We did not draw a 3-drop.
Nasty B.
We
Go.
did draw it about 2.
No!
Alright, we need a land here.
Ah. Damn it, Bramass. You're supposed to go there.
Go ahead.
I wonder if I'm getting Advent of the Wormed.
I don't know. I really wanted that 4th land.
Oh, I don't have... I'm just got to scry. Keep it on top. Go. Alright, you got a 17. Get your worm.
That was a good draw, too.
Oh, God. 15. Yep.
We'll draw a card.
16.
Go ahead.
I will tear that Underworld Connections. Alright. Jace. And I'm just going to minus the Jace. Ooh, spicy.
We'll put the Rev by itself.
I will take the other 2. And I'm going to play a Scryland. I think we're just going to go ahead and bottom that. Go ahead.
something that could attack with less than 4 power would have been real nice there. But it was not to be. Don't think we can let him get more cards off this Jace, so I'll just attack the Jace.
Jace down. Ooh.
Erebos, go to 15. Go ahead.
Alright, well, Erebos is gonna probably never leave play the rest of this game.
It's okay, we're just going to lose to Jace.
I think I'm just gonna minus this Elspeth.
Or Elspeth, I mean.
Go. $13.
13. Strike.
That mana confluence, not the greatest with Erebos.
No, it's not. There's only one in the deck. I'll put that on top.
Uh-oh.
And then I'll pass.
Keeps it on top. Keeps it on the old T. Jace, minus it. Assemble Temple Verdict.
Assemble and Temple together.
Alright, I'll take the Assemble and the Temple. Plus Elspeth. And I'll scry. Bottom that, we do not need that. And say go.
Let's just see, do I want to go to 10 here? I don't think that I do. I'm going to bottom that.
The Baron.
12. Go ahead.
I think I'm just going to kill Jace off here. Elspeth, Temple of Triumph, Hallowed Fountain.
Elspeth by itself.
Right, I'll take the other two. I'll attack.
I'll block one.
I will turn your Blood Baron. Into a 0/1 weird. So you take 2, go to 10. Plus Elspeth. 3 soldiers. I'll shock myself. Play Assemble the Legion. Go ahead.
Yep, I'm dead.
Alright, game numero 4. Number 4.
Alright. This is actually a pretty good hand, so I'll keep.
This hand's slow and unwieldy. Exactly the way I like it. I'll keep.
16.
Alright, I have Assemble, Firemind's Foresight, Elspeth, and 4 lands.
So the only card that is relevant for us right now is Elspeth, so that is what I'll take.
Boo.
And then I'll pass.
Alright, we're going to be playing off the top, exactly where I like to play. Scry.
Bottom.
I don't think we need that at this stage, so yeah, I'll bottom it. You're up.
14. Play carry to.
Sure.
Go.
I'll scry again, and I'll keep that on top. You're up.
Let's see here. So I can just play this now while he doesn't have any way to stop it. I don't have like a follow-up if he were to tap out. So we're just going to go to 12 and we'll make a 5-5 and
Sure.
pass.
Go.
Wilson Collector.
Soft. Scry. We'll bottom that. I don't think that does anything for us.
5.
15.
Scry. And we will bottom that. Go ahead.
Right. Draw. That doesn't really help us, so we're just going to play Jace. And minus the Jace.
Brimaz and an island.
Brimaz and an island. Alright, I'll take the Brimaz and the islands. Go.
Well, that's a good one.
That's not good.
So if he had an answer for my worm, he would have used it there. I'm just going to play this guy.
Sure.
So now I have to decide if I want to just +1 him and draw a card and then kill his Jace. Or if I want to +1 and put counters on my worm and put him to 7. So I know that he has an Assembled Legion and a Firemind's Foresight in hand, +4 unknowns.
No, you don't have these.
Oh yeah, we got the Brimaz. I don't know about the Kronos.
You know about... Oh, yeah, shoot. Crap. Okay, well.
Yeah, I know about the Brimaz and the island. So he only has 2 unknowns. So even if he does minus the Jace to get an answer from my worm, he still has to kill his Jace. And then I get to plus a Johnny and... Actually, I think I'm better just to plus the Johnny and draw some cards. Draw a card and then attack the Jace. So yeah, we're going to plus the Johnny.
Okay.
I look at the top 4, reveal an aura, creature, or planeswalker, and the rest go and put that in my hand. So I look at the top 4. 4 aura, creature, or planeswalker. So I reveal an aura.
That's a
And
good
then
one.
these go on the bottom in any order. So it's in my hand, and we'll attack Jace for 5.
Jace does.
And then I'll pass the turn.
Alright. Draw.
So I think that line's better, but I'm not sure.
So he gave us a Brimaz, so he probably has an answer to Brimaz.
Or I just have a 5/5 form of play.
Yeah, or he's a 5/5 worm. Yeah, I mean, I still feel like... I think we have to... Yeah. I think we just have to lean on Brimaz here, so I'm going to activate Mutavault, attack a Johnny, play Brimaz, and say go. And hope we're not just stone dead.
Alright, so I'm going to start with a Scry. And I think that's probably a good card, so we're going to keep that on top. So we can make our worm an 8/8 and attack. Doesn't give it vigilance, does it? That'd be pretty good. Alright, so
Yep, that's a big worm. Alright, I'll take 8. I'm at 7.
Alright, so I can we're going to decay the Brimaz. Now I can cast the Underworld Connections, and then he could, so he would have to have Mutavault plus a burn spell to kill my Ajani, but then he's just dead to my worm. I think I'm fine with that. And we're going to connect up this Godless Shrine.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Dead.
Yeah.
Alright, we are back for game 5. Well, this hand's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it, but yeah, it's an interesting one.
Same.
Go. Unfortunately, we do not have a Scryland.
I do.
Lucky.
And we'll keep this on top because that's a good card.
Boo. Go.
18. Carry Atid.
Sure.
Go.
Go.
Okay, so got 6 cards over there.
Yep.
I imagine we probably have a dissolve. Just have to decide how I want to go about this hand. I think I'm going to scry first.
Okay.
And I actually like that card quite a bit. So I'm going to start with a Sin Collector. No dissolve. Do have the Jace though. Ling, Elspeth, Jace, Rev, and a Vault. Alright.
Go.
I'll scry.
Sure.
And I think this card's fine because we already know what we want to cast. I'll attack you for 1.
19.
And we're going to downfall the Jace. Go.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The land by itself. We're going to gamble and hope that you breaked.
Go.
So you have Aetherling, Elspeth, Rev, and Unknown. So we got another Scryland. And I think that we can bottom this one. We'll attack the Jace and play a Bloodbaron and pass.
Okay. Go. Really need to hit a land there.
Be able to Elspeth.
Yep.
Then you just trade the Elspeth for my Blood Baron. I will attack.
Alright, I go to 13.
I go to 22. I'm going to play Connections on the Temple.
I'll dissolve it.
Sure.
Scry, keep it on top.
I'll pass.
I'll burn your Sin Collector. I'll -3 the Elspeth. Sure. I have a feeling that might happen, but
Yeah, I'll regenerate.
sure.
Or I could -1/-1.
Ooh, nifty.
How sick would that be, like, to play this like a few turns after you already have tokens and be able to kill your tokens and save the Blood Baron?
Good.
That'd be really cute. But you still have a Sphinx's Revelation I have to deal with here.
26. Another connections. Life Bane.
Let's see what else you got. Yeah, well, that's the same cards that you know.
Yeah.
Go.
Alright, draw. I'll rev for 3. 16. 1, 2, 3. Scry. Go.
Alright. A Thoughtseize or Sin Collector would be nice here.
Alright, I got a 9. Get a 30.
Don't really want to cast this. You have 4 cards?
Yep.
I know one's an Aetherling, and you scried and left it on top.
Yep.
So it has to be something to make you not die this turn, which is likely going to be either another Revelation or a Verdict. So another Revelation would put you at, if you have a land, 5, 14, 7, 10, that doesn't kill you. I'll pass.
Go. Alright, well I have to rev now because that thing is a 10-10, so
Yeah.
I'll rev for 5 and go to 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Take 7, go to 7.
Yep, 34.
And then I'll pass the turn.
Oh my god. Well, we bricked on our revelation, but drew. I guess we could. I don't know. Let's see. We'll probably still. We might just still be dead here, but we'll give the old college try. Yeah, I mean, the only thing we can do is play Elspeth and minus it. Alright. That thankfully works. And I'll scry. As good as that card is, I have to bottom it. And I'll pass the turn. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drew 4 lands off the road. So.
Jeez.
All right, we are here for the conclusion of our video. Ended up being kind of close towards the end. You won the 2 of the post-board games. I won the
The 2 I didn't mulligan to 5.
Yeah, the 2 you didn't mulligan to 5. I don't know. I think like the matchup played out pretty much how I would expect. Like I won the pre-board games, and then you were advantaged post-board. That's kind of how it goes for decks like this. Like your deck has a combination of like anti-creature, anti-control type stuff in the main deck, and once you can just transition to being just all anti-control stuff, the matchup becomes good for you.
Yeah, I think that if I were to play this deck moving forward, I would have a little more anti-control stuff in the main. Like if you look at the top 8, like there's a lot of mono black devotion, and 2 of the top 4 decks were blue white and blue white red control.
Yeah.
So I don't like being that heavy a dog in pre-board games against 2 decks that proved to be very good in the previous weekend. So like if I were to play this deck next week, I would have some number of Thoughtseize and probably some number of Sin Collectors in the main deck, just as a way to hedge. And those cards aren't bad against the aggressive or mid-range decks either. So like you're really not giving up that much.
Sin Collector's pretty bad.
I mean, it's fine against burn.
Yeah. I mean, Sin Collector. I don't think I would main deck Sin Collector. Just because like, it's like not very good against any aggressive deck that's not playing burn spells really. And it seems like most of the aggressive decks now are like, playing Voice Resurgences and Fleece Mains and things like that. I don't think I would want Sin Collector against those decks. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like you can probably hedge a little bit more at this point. Just based on what we saw from last weekend. Although I will say that, like, one weekend's not necessarily... Like, other people are also going to be adapting because of the weekend. So we may see decks that are, like, hyper-aggressive that prey on mono-black and blue-white control spring up as a result, too. So that's always something to keep in mind.
Yeah, if I were playing mono-black or a blue-white control deck next week, I would definitely have Freaka's Cure and Nyx Fleece Ram in my sideboard.
Yeah, Nyx Fleece Ram definitely seems sweet.
That card's like unbeatable for Rakdos Cackler.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part. I mean, they can just like kill it.
Sure.
Or like flood the board and go through it, but yeah, it is pretty hard to beat. I think the blue-red deck's like pretty good. I don't know how good it is, but like I don't know if is it better than Esper? Like that's kind of the big question.
Who knows? We didn't see any Esper decks last weekend.
Yeah, so like you lose out on like a card like Doomblade or Ultimate Price or
Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize or things like that. And I think those cards are really good right now. So to some extent, I think that Esper might still be better, but there are some nifty tools here like Is It Charm and things like that. Keranos seemed pretty good actually. The couple times I was able to play him. But
yeah, he definitely seems awesome, but there are lots of cards to handle him.
Yeah.
Like the control decks are all playing at least a Deicide in the main, so that can be a little awkward. Plus, when you move away from Esper, you're giving up access to cards like Nightveil Spectre, which is also very, very good against almost every deck.
Yeah, or Sin Collector too.
Yeah, so I feel like we're probably going to see a bunch of Esper next week.
Probably, yeah. Like Esper is the kind of deck that just preys on a metagame that doesn't have aggressive decks. And if next week is like last week where we don't see a lot of aggressive decks, then Esper is just prime because it's very good against mono black, very good against like other control decks and things like that. But yeah, if the metagame next week is switching to hyper aggressive decks, then blue white red's definitely a lot better. With Anger and Magma Spray and Is It Charm and things like that. So
yeah.
I think now that you have access to 12 Scrylands for both decks, I think the decision's going to come down a lot to like what you think the metagame's going to be, and more than just Esper's better because there's more Scrylands, or what like rather than one just being better than the other, it'll come down to that.
Yeah. So overall, did you like the blue red deck?
I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's a Revelation deck, so...
That's true. You can basically just lump them all into one category.
Yeah, I mean, it's still the same thing as the other Revelation decks. Is It Charm wasn't that great in this matchup.
Surprising enough that I have, like, Planeswalkers and Underworld Connections and whatnot. But there just was never a point where they lined up well.
Yeah, there's never a point that it lines up well, and it also doesn't kill any of your creatures, which is relevant. Like, I think you want more than one mode on Is It Charm to be good before you play the card. So...
Fair.
Is It Charm wasn't that great here, but it's probably really good in a lot of other matchups, so there's that.
Cool. So thanks, everybody, for stopping by and hanging out with us. I know we've been having people clamoring to see Keranos, so we did see it kick my butt in one game. A lot of people wanted to see a junk deck, so we went ahead and battled that. Feel free to post in the comments any suggestions that you would like to see. We read them as evidence of us using, the game to decide who gets to go first this week.
Yep. A game that I arose the victor.
He did arise the victor.
I was, never battle of wits against a guy with 3 initials.
Oh man, that's true.
Yep.
So again, guys, thanks for stopping. Before we go, quick hit, Fire Mind's Foresight, yay or nay?
It was kind of a nay for me, actually. I had it once and discarded, or didn't get to play it.
Have been better as a revelation.
I've actually had it like 3 times and I never got to cast it. So
fair enough. So you heard it right from the mouth of BBD. No on Foresight, but Sido likes it. So signing off, CVM.
BBD.
Have a good week.
Later.